Hey, first thing first, listen to the sound of the door close. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Cool Car Guys. I'm Kelvin. I know, it's been a while since I last uploaded any videos. But don't worry guys, I'm not affected by the COVID-19 viruses. I'm not in any quarantine center. I'm just being lazy. And then again, we're all stuck at home. We're bored. I'm bored, so why not let me just show you one of the car that my family owns, which is the Hyundai Accent. And little did you know, this car is actually a hidden gem, and it's one of the cheapest car that you can buy, and it is also one of the earliest sedan that brought in by Hyundai. So without further ado, let me just show it to you. What's so good about this car? At that time, this is one of the CKD models in Malaysia. It's one of the earlier Korean car that you can buy in Malaysia. It's more a nimble car, I would say. It comes with this creamy vanilla paint, which is already faded now. So he bought this car when it was 2005, if I'm not mistaken, or 2006. So when it first launched, then the Hyundai Accent actually launched the hatchback version, and also it comes with the RXS body kit that you can buy. The Hyundai Accent, they usually use this. They use this as one of their rally cars in WRC rally. And when you talk about Yaris GR, is one of the coolest car. And Hyundai Accent, they did it first. They were so ahead of their time. They actually used this car as their rally car. So let's start with the door. Soft touch material. Look at that. When you talk about car these days, with soft touch material, you can buy it like around 80 to 90 grand and above. And this car at that time, it only selling for 60 grand. And you have a nice chrome door handles. If I'm not mistaken, these windows, they have the auto roll up and roll down function, if I'm not mistaken lah. Right now, the car is running for about 150,000 kilometers mileage, and yeah, it's a very simple car. It has the 80s dated instrumental cluster. But one thing I want to show you what's so special about this car. You can actually take out the radio, the stereo system from this car, and keep it into your compartment glove box. I think it's a very interesting feature, because talking about back in the days when people are afraid to park their cars out in the public because they are afraid that people might steal their car, get into their car, and take out their radio and sell it as a spare part. So this is a very interesting feature. You can actually take it down and stick it back up. Cup holders, interesting cup holders. I think these are quite a German car inspired features, and of course the plastic parts fall off 2 times, but this cup holders is definitely one of the coolest feature. And when you talk about like cup holders, this car actually have quite a lot of compartment space. There's one huge compartment space here. There's another one huge compartment space here. You can simply throw your key right here, and of course, my dad used it as a storage place to keep his mask. This is the earlier Hyundai car key that you can find. So apparently, there's 3 buttons over here. This will pop the trunk, pressing this. And the top button, if I'm not mistaken, is the lock and unlock, and the bottom is the alarm ignition. So if you want to access to the key, you press this button and it pops right up. And of course, this is not working right now.
A few minutes later.
Let me start the engine. Right off the bat, you can hear that the engine sound is a bit loud. Given that this car is a 15-year-old car, it's pretty normal. Okay, so this car, like any other old cars, once you press on the brake pedals, it actually locks the door for you. Unlike most of the recent car these days. NVH is pretty good, but you can just feel a bit of vibration in this car. I think maybe it's because the engine is a 3-cylinder engine. I'm not sure. I have to correct me if I'm wrong. Let's get going. So I'm just gonna take it for a ride. Yeah, I just passed by like a big pothole as well. You can feel like the car really keep its posture really well. You don't feel like the car is shaking much. Let's try the acceleration. Going 40. Yeah, the acceleration is pretty well. It's very smooth as well. I think this car is running on a 4-speed gearbox. Unlike car these days, they comes with the CVT gearbox. This 4-speed gearbox, it's really smooth. You can really feel like the gear shift, and it doesn't feel jerking at all. Just went through a bump again. You don't really have to step your brake all the way down, because sometimes like if you're going through a bump at a really high speed, you can feel like the car is it's not holding up well. But for this Hyundai Accent, even though you're going through a bump with a minimum speed like around like 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, you can feel like it still hold up quite well. I would say it's actually better than most of the Japanese car that I've driven. It is. Because Japanese car, their damper tend to be soft. Tend to be hard, I would say. That's why you can feel the undulation. It's really not making you comfortable. But for this car, the damper is more on the softer side. That's why you can feel like, oh, it actually really go with the road, and it doesn't feel like a very bumpy. In terms of fuel consumption, I think this car is rather at the bad side. It can only run around 300 to 400 after a full tank refill. So you might have to drive. You might have to be a light footer when you're driving this car. When I asked my dad whether he wants to trade in this car and to get a new car, he actually said no. He actually enjoyed driving this car. He said like car these days, their chassis, their damper, it's nothing against this car. This car has one of the best damper. And second of all, because of the resale value of this car is quite low, if you want to sell this car off, you might get like 1 or 2 grand. Because right now, if you want to buy this car, you can easily find it for like 3,000 to 4,000 on Muda or Carlist. Of course, it depends on the condition of the car as well. You have to see whether is it in a proper maintenance, and whether has it been in any car accident before. So yeah, this car with 60 grand back in the days, you're looking at, you can buy a Proton Gen 2 or a Prodom IV. With the 50 grand in hands, you can actually get a Korean CKD car. I think the contending competitors are like Honda City. At the time, I think it cost 80 grand, and the Jazz, back in the days, the Jazz when it first launched, it cost about 100 grand. It was CBU, and then they tried the CKD in Malaysia. That's why it cost it down. The Hyundai Accent is one of the earliest CKD Korean car in Malaysia that you can get, and one of the earliest sedan that turned rally car that you can get. As you can imagine how good the shock absorber and the chassis work. I enjoy driving this car. I remember when I first got my license, this is sort of my daily driver. I drive this around even before I got my license. And of course, through times, as more cars are coming around, and Hyundai actually stopped producing Hyundai Accent, and I think it's because of the competitions. More and more small sedan that being brought around, and I think this is the 2nd generation. They still managed to bring in brought in the 3rd generation. but unfortunately, they decided to stop there. You can still see it around. In fact, in my neighborhood, there are more than 2 to 3 Hyundai Accent that's still running in mint condition. So let me know, what do you think about this car? Do you have any memories about seeing this car being around? Or do you remember when it first launched? And what's your first perception about this car? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Alright, so the cool car guys, Kelvin here signing out.